Y'all, I have been playing small for like a really long time. Actually, probably, if I get really honest with myself, I have been playing small since we moved into this house, since before we moved into this house. Because, long story short, when we moved into this house, it went really fast due to some circumstances that like our builder was going through. So we built the house like super fast. And when you're building a house, they need your input a lot. You need to do things a lot. There was a lot of like, hey, can you come over here and approve this siding that just got delivered? Or can you come, pick out this thing? I need you to go down, an hour away to pick out your sink today. Like all of these like really quick things happen. And I kind of had to put my business on autopilot, which was amazing. It's amazing that I've built a business that can be put on autopilot, that can also grow while it's on autopilot. And we moved into this house in 2019, and so then after that was COVID, and my kids were home more, and like all of these things that really distracted me and almost didn't allow me to play as big as I wanted to play, but also distracted me so I didn't realize I wasn't playing big. It'll make sense in a minute. I want to talk about this because I think it's really useful for anybody who's starting out or who's struggling in any way to see that everybody does, and to see that everybody feels like they haven't reached their maximum potential sometimes, or that everybody feels like they're not going at the speed they want to go. So I wanted to talk about that for that reason, and I want to get more into detail on what I mean by this and what that means and like how I'm going to change things. But I wanted to talk about it today specifically because it is my birthday. And what better time to realize that I've been playing small and just like shoot for the friggin' moon than my birthday. Little content creator, secret here. It's not actually my birthday when I'm recording this, but it will be when you see it. I think the biggest factor that plays into me playing small, well, there's probably a couple really big factors, but one is that I haven't had this like major, audacious, amazing goal to go after this whole time. Like, it's not like I've been just, going crazy to go to like hit a certain income goal to hit a goal. Yes, I set goals every year in my business, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm like motivated to hit them if there's not like an external reason why I want to hit that amount of money. You know what I mean? The best example I have for this is the year that my son was born, my youngest son was born. I had started on like a fitness journey a little bit before I got pregnant with him. And my sister-in-law at the time lived in Hawaii. And we knew that when my son was 14 months old, we were going to be heading to Hawaii. And I was not about to go to Hawaii and not look just rock star banging in a bathing suit, okay? And so I had this like external motivation to lose all of this weight, to like do the things I was doing, and I did it, and it was amazing, and I hit that goal. And now, I've gained it back. Not all of it, but some of it. That's not the point. Not the point of the story. The point of the story is sometimes you need an external reason for the goal you're trying to hit. I think that's a lot of times why we see people, myself included, who will be like, I want to hit 200,000 subscribers, or I want to lose 45 pounds, or I want to make X amount of dollars, not hit those goals because those goals aren't tied to something that are external outside of those numbers. And we really just, as humans, need that external motivation, or at least I do. And so I've not had this like external thing, this external reason why I'm going to hit these big numbers in my business. Now, I don't want you to get me wrong. My business has still grown. My business is still a $500,000 a year business at this point. I'm not complaining about where the business is. However, it could have been more. I could have hired more people. I could have done more things over the last few years if I wouldn't have been stuck being on autopilot because that felt good. The other part of this for me is being really distracted by what other people are doing. I'll be honest. Over the last 4 years, the idea that I could be some kind of like lifestyle, not necessarily vlogger, but lifestyle brand or someone in that kind of niche has really been intriguing to me in a lot of ways along the way. And what I've realized is that's just not me. That's not for me. I can't remember to pick up a vlogging camera to save my life. Even on days like, I'm vlogging today, can't remember it. And y'all see that. I show that because I can't remember to do it. I don't see the purpose in that, and not to say that there's not a purpose when other people do it, but for me, it feels very purposeless. And so in my head, I've been chasing this, okay, I'm going to lean more into the lifestyle world, but in my heart, I know that's not what I'm actually supposed to do. Now, that changes nothing about this channel or really anything I've been doing, because I've been so stuck on like a fence post that I haven't went one way or the other. But I just want y'all to see like a snapshot inside of my head. I also got really comfortable. So there's this thing in the entrepreneurial space where it's like, the 4-hour work week, or the 4-day work week, or, only work an hour a day, or like, blah, 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 right? Like all of this, like, don't work too much thing. And I fully agree with that. However, I got really comfortable with that. I don't have to work much to keep my business at the current level that it is, to keep my employees, to keep myself being paid at the level that I am, like all of this stuff. I don't have to work much. I need to record content like I'm doing now. I need to record podcast episodes. And then honestly, the rest of it runs on autopilot behind the scenes. And so if I want to work a few hours this week or like dilly-dally, I can. Like, it's not going to hurt anything. And I got really comfortable with that. But that sets me, it's kind of like when you get comfortable just like sitting on the couch all the time and you're not like up and active and moving, it's easier to sit on the couch, And I need to be grinding a little bit. I need to have periods of grind. I need to be working towards something bigger than just like, oh, my business is really well on autopilot. Like I need that. And that is something that I have discovered in the last month or so of really understanding that I've been playing small and trying to figure out how I'm going to get myself out of it. And my team is amazing. They run the business without me for the most part. And I got really comfortable with that. The reason I hired Laura was because I was coming, and Laura is my operations assistant right now. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the reason I hired Laura in 2020 was because I wasn't sure when my kids were ever going to go back to school, right? Like we had come out of a semester of them being home from like March to May, and then we weren't getting word from the school system on like if they were even going to be able to go back in the fall. My youngest son has asthma and has always had like breathing issues. And so I didn't want to send him back to school with like masks on all day. And so it was like I didn't know when my kids were going to go back to school. And at that point, I just needed full-time help in my business so that I could step back a little bit. Honestly, in that moment, that's of course what was right for me and my family, but I got stuck there. Laura came on, everything was great. She runs the business, behind the scenes. She does all the things I need her to do. I create the content. Obviously I have the ideas and the launches and all of that stuff that like a CEO is supposed to have, but she is operating the business behind the scenes. And then we hired someone else part-time, and that's just kind of how I left it. Everything stayed on autopilot. It was totally my fault, not my team's. I used to go for long walks and like by myself, like go for a walk by myself with no music on, no podcast, nothing, to just think through a launch. And like get so excited when I like thought of this like good idea, or when I, like thought through something that was kind of giving me a mental block. I used to keep a notebook in my bathroom, and when I would take a bath, because like a lot of times I'll take a bath, I'm realizing as I get older that I love water. Like I love to be in water. I love to be surrounded by water. It gives me a very calm feeling. I'm a Pisces. Does that make a difference? It doesn't, I'm not into astrology, but it might make a difference. But I love to take like a quiet bath because I'm not responsible for anybody when I'm in the bath. Like somebody else is responsible for the dog, the kids, like all the things. And I used to sit in the bath and I would just like write all these ideas and plan out these sales funnels and plan out these launches. And I haven't been able to even force myself to do that for a very long time. And I started like questioning that for myself. Like, why is that happening? What is going on? Like, what do I need to do? How can I get back to that? And I had some major clarity around the business, around myself, around the fact that I was playing small, around why I was playing small, around what I needed to do to get out of it. And I had this major clarity in the last few weeks, and it has been amazing because when you know what you're working towards, it's easier to work. Like yesterday, I had the most productive day ever. I had checked off so many things on my to-do list that weren't even on the to-do list for Monday, which was yesterday. I checked off things from today. I checked off things for like Thursday, like all of these things. It's because I have this major, clear path of where I want the business to go and what I want to do and where I want to go personally and like why I'm working towards all of these goals and all of this stuff. And it just so happened that it coincided with Laura letting me know that she was taking a different job. Now, like, I am not insane. Like, I've known from the beginning that Laura probably wouldn't stay with me forever because she has like philanthropic goals she wants to go after, and she's a very like driven, motivated person. She moved to Washington, D.C., so I know she has like options there where she can like get out of the house and go to the office and things like that. So I knew that she wouldn't stay with me forever, but it was still a sad day when Laura was like, hey, I think I'm going to take another job. But we love Laura and she is so amazing. And I have absolutely loved having her on my team, like for real. But I was like all ready to tell Laura all these like huge plans on Friday of last week. And literally like I was out on my porch with like a big notepad, like just like, oh my gosh, my brain was just going crazy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to tell Laura this. And she sent me that message first. And so I was like, okay, you know, it's fine. What's really cool about this is that it's coming at this time when I'm having this like clarity around the business and I want to like shift and change things and make some moves here and there. So it can all coincide with like bringing in someone else as an operations manager. Like all of that can kind of happen at the same time. And so while I'm really sad that Laura is leaving, I'm very sad and I wish she wasn't. It also is happening at a time where I think it is like best for everybody. So what we're doing is Bridget, which is my part-time employee right now, who's been working with me part-time for over a year now. She is actually moving into Laura's role. She is just as amazing as Laura is. So she's going to move into Laura's role, and then I'm going to look at hiring someone else, either part-time or full-time, to take on what she was doing. So it works out great, but I just find it kind of like serendipitous, I guess you could say, that like at the same time that I am like, oh my gosh, I've been playing small, I need to make all these changes, like blah, 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 that my team is changing too. I just feel like it just fits. So to make this into a lesson for you too, if you feel like you're also playing small, and let me just clarify what I mean by that, like not going after what you could go after. Now, I'm not saying we should always be in this like hustle grind mode. There's going to be times when we're slowing down a little bit and speeding up a little bit, and that's okay and that's normal. But to stay in that slow down period for a really long time, not truly going after what you can go after, that is playing small. And I'll give you some advice to help you if you're also kind of going through that. So one would be to have an external goal outside of money. Like, why do you need to make that money? Like, what is that going to afford you the ability to do? For me, I realized that like I really want to have other businesses. I want to have Airbnbs. We just bought some commercial property where we're going to put a commercial building, and I want to do all of that for our retirement, right? And in order for me to do that, I have to hit bigger goals than what I'm hitting now. And so playing small is just not going to cut it. And there's also some other goals thrown in there, but find some like external goals. Like, why do you want to make that amount of money? Why do you want to hit that number of subscribers? Why do you want to have that many people on your email list? Like, whatever the scenario is, and tie it to like an external reason. I think that will help a ton. The other thing, if you have the ability to talk to friends who are in business, a coach, like if there is somebody you can talk to who understands where you are, do it. Go talk to your friends. Go have a weekend away with your friends, with your business friends. Get some clarity that way. Y'all, I need that very much so in my life. Like, I need to get away with my business friends and, just talk about business. And I realized that in addition to playing small, I also stopped going and doing those things. And they're so magical for me. Those little times when I have other people around me who understand what I do, because God knows I do not have that in my like real life. When I have other people around me that know what I do and can have these like deep, thoughtful, conversations around what we do, it is so magical. And while that wasn't what led to this moment of clarity for me necessarily, I encourage you to do it if you can, because let me tell you, it's super helpful. And then the third thing is to get really clear on who you're talking to, who you're helping, and how you're helping them. I have floundered. I will admit that. I have floundered between this person and that person and this person and that person, and they've all been pretty related and all of the things, but I've floundered around. And y'all wouldn't know that necessarily because this YouTube channel hasn't necessarily floundered, but in my head, I've floundered. Is that even a word other people use? Or is that like a Southern thing? Floundered? I don't know. Anyway, so all of that being said, I have not been really clear on who I'm talking to. And in order to be to know where to push my goals, to know what courses I want to launch, or to know what I'm doing next, or what things to put in my shop, or whatever I'm trying to do, I've got to know who I'm talking to clearly. And I have kind of rode the fence between entrepreneurs and people who want to be creators for a long time. And so I would tell you, get really clear on who you want to talk to. Really clear on what level of business they're at, or what level of whatever they're at. If you want to talk to people who are preparing for retirement, are they, in their 30s, or are they in their 50s, right? Where are they? Get really clear on that, because at that point you can say, okay, I know I'm going after this person. I have this course, I have this thing, we're going to launch this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it all makes so much sense. And the reason I was able to have the most productive day in a very long time yesterday, even though my puppy wanted to go out 82 million times. And by the way, he wanted to at the beginning of this video too. I had to start the video over 18 times because he wants to go out and there's a dead animal laying outside somewhere and he wants to find it. And I got frustrated and I put him in his kennel for a little timeout and nap because he was driving me crazy. But even with that yesterday, I still had an insanely productive day. Actually, I'm just gonna go look. I checked off 11 things off my to-do list yesterday. 4 or 5 of those were for Monday, and I had those done by 8 a.m. And they were not super small things. They were planning launches and recording podcast episodes. And the reason I was able to have that super productive day, 1, I was really jazzed about what I'm working on right now, right? But 2, I also have a very clear vision of who I'm trying to help, who I'm trying to talk to, how I'm going to do that. And I can backwards trace that to put on my list the things I need to get done on a Monday. If I know I'm launching a course in 3 months, there's some things I need to do on Monday to prep for that, whether it's just tell my team or whatever. And if you're not super duper freaking clear who you're talking to, what you're doing, all the things, you can't get there. Okay, so I know this was very stream of consciousness. I tried to add some tips in there to help you in some way, so it was beneficial to you, but maybe just hearing me chat about how I've been playing small is beneficial, because I know when other people talk about stuff that I've been struggling with, when I think I'm the only one struggling, I'm wow, I'm so excited. So I'm not the only one struggling with this. So thanks for hanging out with me on my birthday. And honestly, you should be super excited because all of this clarity brought me a ton of clarity around content I'm creating here on the platform. And you're going to love everything that I put out, I promise. So come back. Let's see, today's Thursday. Come back on Sunday for a new video. And that's all. Bye, y'all.